If I say the name Rayman, there are a handful of things that may spring to mind. A pixelated guy from 30 years ago, an edgy 3D model of a guy with a hood, a weird frozen thing from Smash. But you're most likely gonna think of the most recent games in the series, Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends. But let's be real, you'll think of Legends. The game sold better and received more ports, including a definitive edition on the Nintendo Switch. That's the art style used for the subsequent mobile games, you know, Fiesta Run, Adventures, and Mini. Obviously Jungle Run looked like Origins because it came out before Legends. Because I'm a huge Rayman fan, when I hear the name Rayman, I think of a lot of stuff. I'm not the general public, so I may be wrong when I say this, but I'd argue that the current Rayman Legends design is probably his most notable. You know what, even if I am wrong, that doesn't matter, because that's not actually the point of this video. When Rayman Legends was first announced, it was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive. This was a funky decision, but to give them their dues, Ubisoft did go back on this. They delayed the game and made ports for PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4. It also ended up showing up on PS Vita and Switch. Anyway, as part of this delay, Ubisoft added new levels to the game as a way of an apology for such a big delay. They were a different company back then. These levels took the name back to Origins and were essentially remasters of the levels from Rayman Origins. Not all of them, of course, but a good chunk of them. Maybe around half, I think 45%, I think is the number of levels they did. They were more or less the same as before, just visually remastered to fit the new art style of Legends. You know, it's now more of a hand-painted look than a hand-doodled look. Additionally, each level now has 10 cages instead of 2, again, like Rayman Legends' normal levels, and the lums now do that thing where the first few are purple and worth double the points. This was a great move. It gave new players a chance to experience some excellent levels, and returning players a chance to replay some excellent levels. I've made it no secret on this channel that I adore Rayman Origins, and if you hadn't already gathered from that statement, I revisit the game a lot. But why would I do that when the newer, more accessible game contains half of the levels and more? Well, in this video I want to ask and answer the question, why do we still go back to Rayman Origins? I could be blunt, I could go with the easy cop-out answer and simply say Rayman Origins is a better game, but that's not good enough. Firstly, that's just my opinion, and while I know a lot of people agree with me, there are just as many people who disagree with me. There's no real way to say which is objectively better because they both cater to different audiences. Well, not quite. I've said before in a video all about this, but Rayman Origins is a speed and momentum based game. Every level is designed in such a way that it can be sped through in roughly 1 or 2 minutes. Every wall, every enemy, every obstacle is placed so carefully that a perfect speed driven run can be achieved. In fact, if you take the speedrun approach to the game, enemies aren't even obstacles, they're just extra platforms to help you get where you need to go quickly. However, if you do want to explore or take things slowly, every level is more than equipped for that, with secrets hidden in such a way that while the game almost forces you forwards past them, you have to actively try to stop and find them. It's a wonderful game, and I could gush about the level design for, I don't know, about 13 minutes probably. My point is, where Rayman Origins shines, it's very easy to say Rayman Legends fails. Take any of the normal levels from Legends and tell me, is this designed for a speedrun? No, of course it's not, but it's not meant to be. And that's okay. Rayman Origins focuses on making each level an excellent blend of speed, platforming, and exploration. Rayman Legends takes those two elements and separates them. This is no bad thing at all, for the record. It just means that for every main level you move slowly through with Murphy controlling platforms for you, nooks and crannies to explore and enemies to fight, there is another one that you have to beat in 40 seconds with absolutely no exploration at all. Think of it like this, each Rayman Origins level has that little clock at the beginning where you can start the level as a time trial. Legends has that, except it isn't in the main level and it's a completely new map with probably different enemies than that world normally has. It's different, but you know, fair play to them. They did include everything from Origins, even if it wasn't merged in one. There are also all sorts of other levels in this game. Music levels which are speed-based, to be fair. Kung Foot, Princess Rescue missions, Murphy levels, unfortunately, and challenge maps. These challenge maps are interesting. Either daily or weekly, the game will be updated with new challenges, and at the end of the given time period, your score based on other players would result in a trophy. If you're in the top 1% of players, you get a diamond trophy. Yum yum. These challenges take the form of endless runners, endless fallers, endless climbers, hit this many things quickly as fun additions to the game that have kept it alive for years after release, fostering competitive scenes requiring precise movement unbecoming of the rest of the game.
I heard the words Rayman and movement in the same sentence. What's the situation?
Well, I was just discussing how Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends cater to different audiences with different aspects of the game.
Alright, I got this. Some levels in Rayman Legends have a newly added system where regardless of any momentum you gather, you will always be capped at the same speed and stay at the same point on the screen to keep you on beat with the level, even letting you catch up at ridiculous speeds if you fall behind. This extremely forgiving system was most likely a response to levels in Origins where if you got too far ahead, you could die to obstacles that weren't yet in the right place for you to overcome. Whether the new system is better is up for debate, but the old one was certainly more skill-based, even if you had to limit your own speed to keep the level on the right cycle. Levels like the Land of the Living Dead in Origins wouldn't have been nearly as difficult if the danger of just falling behind and dying didn't exist. It was brutal, but the endgame challenge was supposed to be brutal. In Legends, the post-game level that takes place in the Land of the Living Dead is just another music level, arguably even a step down in difficulty from Glue Glue and Dragon Slayer. The only levels in Legends I'd consider truly difficult are the later invaded stages and the challenges. The former is what Corkben was talking about before, about the speedrunning aspect of Origins being split off into new levels, and I think these are perfectly good side grades to the speedrunning medals in that game. The latter, though, is a whole different beast that I think warrants another discussion. The challenges in Rayman Legends break the norms put forward by the rest of the game, removing any momentum cap or rubber banding mechanics in favor of simply moving the level along at your pace. They're broken down into a few categories, but they all share one thing in common, and that's an incredibly high potential for skill application. In the timed levels, there's ridiculously complex movement tech you can do to reach the goal or the required lum count at about half the time a normal player would. In the distance courses, you can survive so long that the level begins to lag, forcing you to employ exploits to survive, say, getting stuck on a platform until the abyss swallows you whole. I'm a fairly high-ranking player, top 400 worldwide in cup rankings on Switch, so I think I have the clearance to say that through exclusively challenges, Rayman Legends has a higher skill ceiling than Origins does. However, that doesn't mean Origins is out of this race. Legends' challenges suffer from two debilitating setbacks. For one, they require online functionality in the Ubisoft servers to play. There is a glitch setup you can do to access them offline, but that removes the point of the competition and requires two other controllers. Two, they're repetitive. Murphy, Pit, Land, Dojo, Tower. Those are the only 5 locales for the challenges, compared to so many gorgeous aesthetics used in the main levels. In Origins, you can speedrun any level and have it be designed expressly to make you have the most fun possible while doing so. Unless your name is Skyward Sonata, Snake Eyes, or Fickle Fruit. You know who you are, get in the bad corner. TLDR, Origins is built like a traditional speedrunning game like Celeste, the main game holding all the crazy strats and such, while Legends' high-level play is focused on competition built into the challenges and invasion levels. Do you want your video back now?
Yes, please. I'd like that. TheTallPancake, everybody. He crashes through my video and makes better points than I could ever wish to make, so yeah, thank you. You're making me look bad. So with everything in mind, it's very difficult to say which game is better. Both set out to do different things and both do them excellently. While I've made it no secret which one I prefer, there's no denying that others will prefer Rayman Legends, and that is great. Both games are fantastic additions to the franchise, and while Rayman Legends is newer and more accessible, and has a bunch of Rayman Origins' levels built into it, there is absolutely still reason to go back to Origins itself, and I don't just mean through the paintings. Now, you might be thinking, all the levels brought over into Legends will be the best ones anyway, they didn't just leave the good ones behind, or if you really want to do the speedruns, just time yourself with your phone, it's the same level. Or, did Elon Musk really do that salute? Yes. Yes, he did. But in terms of the other two statements I made on your behalf, because that's how this parasocial relationship works, the levels they brought forward to Legends might be the best ones. They might have gotten it perfect and chosen exactly the best levels, because if they're your favourite levels, then it must be true. However, everyone has different tastes, and for the record, they absolutely didn't bring the best levels over, at least not all of them. I don't really understand their choices, but whatever. If you want the full experience, you play the best, you play the worst. You don't wait until each painting gets unlocked by slogging through Toad Story first. Instead of playing Game 2 in order to unlock half of Game 1, I'd rather just play Game 1. Oh, and the point about speedruns, yeah, you could just time yourself with your phone. You're not going to though, are you? Let's be real here. There's also the art style. Both games have a lot going for them in terms of visuals, and I love the 2D and 3D blend that Legends has, specifically with the boss fights, and the painted art style is just so beautiful. But you know what's more beautiful? The hand-drawn style of Origins. Anyway, I think I've exhausted my points a little bit here. Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends are both great games that achieve their goals equally as well. When it comes to picking favourites, it more or less boils down to which one do I prefer the concept of, because then that's the one I'm always going to like more, since they both achieve their concept and goal equally as well. In terms of returning to Origins and why we return to Origins, well, despite the game half being in Legends and Origins being so much more difficult to play if you're on consoles, it's just not the same playing it in Legends. It's not the full experience. It's missing those stupid in-between levels at the end of each world that are basically just like you jump and you watch it happen. It's missing the hand-drawn charm, it's missing the built-in features, bells and whistles that made Origins so good. I could say the same about Legends, you know, if that came first and then Origins showed up with a newfound way of merging exploration and speed, it would be very easy to call it a more advanced, more clever version of Legends, but there's always going to be something calling you back, even if it's just one small thing. Except in Origins' case, it's not one small thing, it's many big things, but that's beside the point. I just love Rayman Origins. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out TheTallPancake, and thanks again for suggesting this collaboration and getting involved, and crashing into my video and making better points than me.
It was a ton of fun. If you at home liked it, you could also join both of our Discord servers as well. I really hope that wall's cheap to repair, though. I can't pay for that.
I thought you'd gone. Anyway, sooner or later I want to explore the origins of Rayman Origins, so keep an eye out for that. But until then, stay original, stay legendary.
And stay tuned.
Get off my channel.